Hello, I'm Clark Crawford, and welcome to my first live stream. We're going to be talking some Astros baseball today, a little bit of Astros post game, and also, just Astros news, basic things you need to know. And, the season's not going well, but there's still plenty of room to talk Astros baseball. Anyways, let's get to it. Like I said, I'm Clark Crawford, and, let's talk about today's game. The Astros lost 6-0. And a bit of news before I get into how today's game went. Some news that broke before the game, a couple hours before. Astros starting pitcher, their best pitcher so far, Christian Javier, got placed on the 15-day IL with neck discomfort. Just another brutal injury to the Astros season and another pitcher getting hurt, which already included Framber Valdez is hurt and not pitching right now. Jose Urquidy, Lance McCullers, Luis Garcia, and now Christian Javier. They got a bit of good news on Friday when Justin Verlander was activated off of the IL to start the game on Friday night, which he won, and the Astros finally won a game. But now, right as they get Verlander back, and you're starting to think, maybe something's going positive. Another negative hits, and the Astros lose another one, and they dropped 2 of 3 to the lowly Nationals, who are in 4th place in the NL East. And the Nationals suck. They're not very good, but they looked like a great team against the Astros, who fall to 7-16 after the weekend series. And of course, they're 5th in last place, even behind one of the worst teams in baseball, the Oakland A's. That's embarrassing as it is. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It's been a disaster of a season, and you've got it. There's nowhere to go from here but up. But right now, it looks like the ship is still sinking, and I'm not really sure how they're going to get out of it. But they got to find a way to at least salvage this season, because it's the last year of Alex Bregman's contract, and I think it's in all likelihood the season Bregman's having, he drops his average after today's 0 for 4 to 213. And if this continues, I wouldn't want any piece of Alex Bregman going forward. But, hey, I would love to have him back. But right now, hitting 213, really the only player hitting worse than him on the team is, of course, Jose Abreu, who's hitting 068. But that's another topic for maybe later in the video. Or if you check out my other videos, I've talked plenty about Jose Abreu. But I'm not going to get into him right now. So today's game featured the Astros, and they lost 6-0. They only had one runner reach second base, and let me tell you, if you only have one runner all game, which was Victor Caratini, who got on base and then with a single and then advanced to second on a wild pitch, you're not going to win games when you're, you're not going to win games when you only get one runner to advance to second base and you lose 6-0. You gave up 11 hits, 6 runs. I mean, it's ugly. And the game, Hunter Brown even started the game horribly, as now he's 0-4 on the season with the 9.68 ERA. And they lost to a pitcher named Mitchell Parker, who made his first career start earlier in the week against the Dodgers. And Mitchell Parker, who actually is a San Jack alumni, just as I am, he went to JUCO, got drafted in the 5th round of the 2020 MLB draft, which there were only 5 rounds. It was shortened due to COVID. And Mitchell Parker is off to a heck of a start through the first 2 games of his MLB career. He has a 2-0 record with a 1.50 ERA. And as I'm saying, he's off to a heck of a start. Mitchell Parker also struck out to begin his MLB career in LA against the Dodgers. He struck out Betts and Ohtani, and that's kind of funny because of the whole saga with Shohei Ohtani, but I'll get into that later on, maybe another video, or you can ask me personally what I think about the Ohtani situation. But he struck out Betts and Ohtani to begin his MLB career, which then today in his second career start, he ended up striking out Jose Altuve and Yordan Alvarez to begin his second career start. That's one heck of a MLB debut in his second start, to strike out 4 high-profile hitters like that. I'm sure it's happened a few other times in Major League history, but I mean, heck, that's one heck of a start to your career. As I said, he's striking out some of the best players in baseball, and some might say some of the top players in baseball. But, he's off to one great run of his MLB career so far. We'll see if things continue. Going along with the Mitchell Parker theme, I'm giving hats and credit to where it's due. Parker went 7 innings, gave up 3 hits, and struck out 8 Astros. It doesn't get much better than that. And on the Astros side of things, Hunter Brown, who started the game, bloop single by C.J. Abrams, then a stolen base, then another bloop single by Jesse Winker, and bam, 10, 12 pitches into the game and the first 2 hitters, and he's already down 1-0. And then, of course, later in the first inning, to make matters worse, he gives up a 2-run single later in the inning, still with no outs, and 4 hitters into the game, you're down 3-0, and things just continued to get worse from there. And, the Astros end up scoring no runs, and, just a little tip, if you score no runs, you're not going to win a baseball game. And, of course, they lost today's game 6-0. Not really many highlights to discuss on the Astros side of things. Yordan Alvarez gets 1 hit, but I guess the only real highlight of the game was Chas McCormick going 2 for 3. So thank you, Chas, as all of us Astros fans are going, well, Chas McCormick showed up today, but nobody else showed up. I mean, Kyle Tucker hit one well early in the game in a second at bat, a deep fly that was caught. I mean, he's out there trying to swing it well, but nothing to show for it. And the Astros lose this game 6-0. Like I said, not many highlights. And at least Brandon Bielak lowered his season ERA to 5.11. He went 2 innings, giving up 3 hits and no earned runs. So good performance by Brandon Bielak, but not too much more to show for it. As I said, the Astros now dropped their season record to 7-16. I mean, how much worse can it get? They've already hit rock bottom. They're 5th in the AL West. Alex Bregman, as I mentioned, he's hitting .213 on the year in a contract year. I thought after his hot start to spring training, Alex Bregman might have a really good season, or at least good first month of the year, but he continues every single season of his MLB career to start slow. But other than his rookie year, where, he was, about 0 for 30, 0 for 28, somewhere around there to start his MLB career, and then finally got a bloop single. He doesn't quite look that bad, but this is not the Alex Bregman we're accustomed to. Alex Bregman's a .270 or so lifetime hitter, and usually he at least shows a little bit of pop. But Alex Bregman is showing no real pop. He has a couple doubles on the year, but just a bunch of singles, really. And it looks concerning. Now, I understand you're only 23 games into the season, but you've got to find something. And there haven't been too many positives this year, but one of the positives has been Seth Martinez, of course, Christian Javier, who's now on the IL, and of course, Ronel Blanco, and Jose Altuve is still hitting .351 after his 0 for 4 today. But the last couple games, even he struggled. And usually when your number one hitter goes 0 for 4, not too many guys seem to follow with a bunch of hits. I mean, obviously you can still win the game, but when you only collect 4 hits in a game, unless you somehow miraculously outscore your opponent 1-0 or 2-0 in that game, you're probably going to lose that game. I know a lot of Astros fans, as myself, are saying Jose Abreu is the problem. Well, he's not the full problem, because today Jose Abreu didn't even play, and you still didn't score runs. So for all the people who were claiming for Jose Abreu's head, well, he wasn't even the problem today. I know he was a problem earlier in the series, but Jose Abreu didn't even play today. So the Astros fans, I'm as frustrated as you are. I mean, I'm not going to put it lightly. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But I mean, hey, it's only 23 games into the season. If you're like me, I'm still going to believe in this team until the last day they would be potentially mathematically eliminated. I know it's hard, but it is only April. The Astros have tended to start slow over this run of 7 consecutive ALCSs. Now, it doesn't look like they'll make the LCS as of we're talking Astros baseball here on April 21st, but a lot of things can change. And hopefully Framber Valdez could come back sometime in the Chicago series, which I will have a video out probably on Tuesday, previewing the Astros versus Cubs series, what to look forward to. As is expected, Justin Verlander will pitch sometime in that series in his second start of the year. Spencer Arrighetti got called up to the Major League Club with the injury to Christian Javier, which I mentioned earlier in the video. So he's likely to get a start in that series, along with JP France. As of right now, those sound like your probable Astro starters for that series. In what order, we don't know. We'll find out probably sometime tomorrow or Tuesday morning. But the Cubs haven't been okay so far. I mean, the Astros, their schedule is lightening up a bit. But, I mean, the Nationals, even with their win today, are 10-11. And you can't take at least 2 out of 3 or sweep the Astros. Sweep the Nationals. It's starting to become a problem. I mean, yesterday, you had a 4-2 lead going into the ninth inning. You got Ryan Presley on the mound, and the Astros find a way to lose that game. I knew I'm not a guy who's going to be a Debbie Downer all the time, but once that game hit extra innings, you could see the team was deflated, and I could see a loss coming. And unfortunately, yesterday, Seth Martinez, in both extra inning games this week, takes the loss, and he threw a total of, I think it was 3 pitches in those 2 outings. Luckily for him, his ERA is unaffected because they're unearned runs because of the most ridiculous, and I mean the most ridiculous thing in baseball, a runner on second to start extra innings. I'm sorry, Rob Manfred and whoever else came up with this rule. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. You don't get free base runners. MLB needs to cut that out. And it's simple. You don't get free base runners. That's not baseball. You have to earn your way on. You want to advance bases, either steal bases or guys got to knock you around by hitting the ball or, drawing walks or whatever it is. But anyways, I mean, both teams get a fair chance, so I'm not going to sit here and say that's the reason the Astros lost. No, they lost yesterday's game because Ryan Presley just had another meltdown, and his ERA is over 9 for the season. And look, Ryan Presley, I understand that you said all the right things in spring training and you said, oh, you're okay with not being the closer. But Ryan Presley, I believe he's pissed off. He's not the closer, whether he says it in front of cameras or not. But what's with you? I know you haven't all of a sudden forgotten how to pitch a baseball and you've fallen off a cliff because Ryan Presley's only 33. I believe he's 34 years old, and he has, if I'm not mistaken, a team option next year. And I was expecting for him to be around at least this year and potentially another year or 2. But as the things stand right now, if Ryan Presley's so upset with, the Astros right now, I'm not saying trade him, but I'd get rid of his, I believe he's making about $15 million contract, and just let him walk in the offseason. He's going to pitch like this, and he looks like, Astros' previous pitchers in the past. The first name that comes to mind is Framber Valdez having meltdowns on the mound prior to like 2021 when he kind of mostly figured things out. I mean, he gives up 1 hit, and then it's 2, 3, 4 hits in a row, and he's giving up 2 or 3 runs. I don't know what's wrong with Ryan Presley this year, but Ryan Presley figured it out. I mean, heck, at least Brian Abreu seems like he's starting to turn the corner. And then also, I mean, if you're mentioning Ryan Presley, well, the Astros also lost yesterday's game because of a Jose Abreu error late in the game that caused Josh Hader to throw too many pitches, this was Friday, and also Josh Hader was unavailable because he threw 30 pitches on Friday, so he couldn't pitch yesterday, or it was not, he could pitch, but it wasn't wise to let him pitch, and so, Ryan Presley comes in the 9th inning because you feel like you have 3 closers, but the back of the bullpen has just been abrupt, and they've all sucked. I mean, everyone's had a meltdown, and they've all pretty much been bad all season long. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I mean, when you have a back end of the bullpen that's supposed to be dominant, and then they end up sucking the whole year, and they've all got sub-5 ERAs, I mean, north of 5 ERAs of your 7th, 8th, and 9th inning guys, well, you deserve to be 7-16 at this point. And how you're going to fix things? Well, for starters, the offense needs to come alive. And then secondly, if the bullpen could just pitch up to their potential, I mean, when you got guys like Taylor Scott and Seth Martinez who are out pitching Brian Abreu, Ryan Presley, and Josh Hader, two of those three guys make north of $10 million, and Josh Hader nearly makes $20 million a year on his newly signed 5-year deal. I mean, shoot, that's a major problem. And I think I'd start right there. I mean, yeah, a lot of people are going to say, well, you need to get rid of Hunter Brown or this or that. Well, Hunter Brown's here to stay. I'm just letting you know there's no one to replace him right now, because the next guy that's going to go down, if Framber Valdez comes back sometime this week, beginning tomorrow, Monday, which is an off day, but he could still potentially be activated, or he comes back for the Mexico series, which is this next weekend against Colorado, Saturday and Sunday, or if he comes back for the homestand after that. Well, just to let you know, the first pitcher who's going to more than likely be sent down, whether you like it or not, is going to be Spencer Arrighetti. Yeah, he looked better in his last start, but then maybe after that, if Jose Urquidy and now Christian Javier come back, hopefully soon, which we kind of got good news on Javier. They only expect him to miss the 15 days, and his IL stint also got backdated to 3 days ago, so he'd only have to miss roughly 12 more days. Hopefully he doesn't need a minor league rehab, because the Astros need just about everybody they can get, pitching, and he's one of the only ones pitching well. Hunter Brown's probably going to be the second guy to get sent down, or at least to the bullpen. And then third would, as of right now, probably be JP France, because then you'd have Verlander, Urquidy, you'd have Framber and Javier, and then the guy that's staying in the rotation and on the roster guaranteed right now is Ronel Blanco, who now is your best starter right now. I know JV pitched well the other night, but Blanco's had 4 starts on the year already, and all of them have been good. So right now, with the injuries to Javier and Framber and Justin Verlander just coming back, and he's still going to need to ease into things for another start or two as you fully build his pitch count back up. Well, Ronel Blanco is your best starter. So Hunter Brown, not a great performance today, but at least innings 2, 3, and 4, he was better. And I know I posted this on Twitter and everything, and if you want to follow me at Twitter, it's Clark Crawford Sports, like it is here on YouTube. But I was starting to wonder, because he's got rocked in 3 of his 4 starts. Is Hunter Brown tipping his pitches? Because I'm not saying it's a guarantee, and I'm not saying that, I'm not making excuses for Hunter Brown, but was he tipping his pitches in the first inning? Because it seemed like the same thing was happening when he didn't make it out of the first inning against the Royals. Maybe he's doing something, because Hunter Brown's got a live arm, a fastball, and I know his location's not been the best as well, but for him to get shelled like this, it makes me wonder just how, if you remember back in the 2022 World Series, Lance McCullers was tipping his pitches. Exactly what he was doing, I don't have the extensive numbers in front of me or to show like a video or whatever, but it was obvious Lance McCullers was doing something with his glove or his arm, and the Phillies picked up on it and rocked him. But luckily, the Astros, as us fans know, still won that World Series. But Hunter Brown, I don't believe he's this bad of a pitcher. I just believe Hunter Brown's having a bad stretch. Now, how bad of a stretch? Well, it may not even be the worst stretch of his career, as he's now 0-4. But Hunter Brown's got to figure things out, because he's at least going to make a couple more starts. And Hunter Brown's a young arm. He's got a good young live arm, as I've said. I mean, he's only 25 years old. I'm going to believe he's going to figure things out, because, well, the Astros need him to figure things out. He's one of the reasons they're 7-16. I know he had a really good last start, so I need to go back and mention that really he's had 3 bad to horrific starts and then 1 good start. That's my apologies, I remember now. But going back on that, Hunter Brown, well, he's, like I said, he's got to figure it out, or he's going to find himself in the minor leagues quickly. I'd give him 1 or 2 more starts, because, well, there's a lot of guys not pitching well, and you can't just DFA everybody right away or send everybody down to the minors. You have to have quality, viable arms to replace them. And right now, when you have a whole starting rotation of 5 guys that I mentioned at the beginning of the video on the injured list, you can't just, Hunter Brown's sent down. Well, Spencer Arrighetti just got called up today. He would be next in line. who else are you going to bring up? Because most Astros fans can't name 90% of the minor league guys. So you tell me right now down below in the comments if you'd like to comment on my live stream here, and I appreciate anybody following and watching, but let me know of anybody who the Astros could call up right now, because I bet, my audience here or most Astros fans can't name another pitcher or quality pitcher that you could call up right now to make a start. Because like I said, Spencer Arrighetti is already up. So name another starting pitcher you could call up, because the one that comes to mind for me that's made a start, and he was as bad as Hunter Brown, he just, had a shorter leash, was Blair Henley. And guess what? You're not going to start Blair Henley in another major league game anytime soon, unless it's a big time desperation and the season goes so bad and everyone gets traded and you have to call him up. But you're not going to start him. So there's nobody else to pitch right now. The only other person you could maybe start in Hunter Brown's place as of April 21st is possibly Brandon Bielak. But Brandon Bielak isn't stretched out. Or you could try Seth Martinez, but neither one of them are stretched out to be starters right now. They can maybe give you 50 pitches, but then you've got to go and dig deep into your bullpen for a whole nother start. That's if your bullpen game would go well. So Hunter Brown's here to stay, whether you like it or not, at least for another couple of weeks. And after that, then we can have the discussion of, well, he's here to stay, and, well, too bad. So then we could potentially have the discussion of sending him down or sending him to the bullpen. So that's my news on Hunter Brown and my tidbit. There's nobody else right now. So I'm not thrilled with it, and I think some kind of change needs to happen with Hunter Brown, but he's here to stay. I'm just here to give you the facts. So the Astros have a 3-game series with the Cubs coming up. And, well, they need some wins on the horizon. Maybe the Cubs series gets them going. And with you being 9 games under 500, it's starting to become the facts of, well, I heard a stat today. The Nationals started the season 9-31, the year they won the World Series back in 2019. A painful memory. I know it hurts me to still bring it up. But I don't think this year's Astro team, if they started 19-31, could afford to start 19-31 and even sniff the World Series, because their division has improved. Even though their numbers don't look great, somebody's going to come alive soon and take over that division and run with it, whether it's the Astros making an improbable 9 games under 500 and now winning the division, which is still possible. Don't get me wrong. It's just unlikely. But I'm here to tell you, if things don't get fixed quick, and I'm not going to panic too much, but I'm about a 6 or a 7 on my panic meter to say, hey, things are going bad, but there is still a lot of time left in the season. But at the same time, it's go time. You've got to pick it up. So the Astros 7-16, as I've said several times. What's going to happen? I don't know. And the other order of business I want to get to, how do y'all think? And comment on any of my other videos. It's heavy Astros talk. It's baseball season. Any of you watching that don't already know, I'm a big Astros fan. I live in Houston, Texas. And, well, how do y'all think Joe Espada's done so far? You can comment, give me a shout out on social media. I gave my Twitter handle earlier in this post, or give me a comment here on YouTube. I think Joe Espada's done fine so far this season. I mean, a ton of injuries, and I'm not going to make injuries be the end-all, be-all. But at the same time, if you always have to ask yourselves this question. If you were Joe Espada, what else would you have done differently? Obviously, the big number one is going to be, well, you need to bench Jose Abreu. Well, he started to put Jose Abreu on the bench. The problem is your next best option at first base is John Singleton. And, well, John Singleton's only hitting .229 on the year. Yeah, it's better than Jose Abreu, so it's a little improvement. But John Singleton is a 4A player. As I've mentioned before, if you've seen any of my other videos, he's a 4A player, meaning basically he's really good at AAA, but he stinks in the major leagues. And also John Singleton kind of got brought out of nowhere as he bounced around a couple of clubs last year, and then he ended up with the Astros, and he mashed in AAA, and now he's just kind of not very good in the majors. I mean, I knew he wasn't going to be that great because John Singleton got called up at a young age, and he struggled then, and then he was out of baseball for a while, and he came back, and he's not good now. I mean, if that's your second best option, at first base, and Joe Espada has to play one of them. And for all you people shouting at me in the back there, Mauricio Dubon can play first base. Well, no, Mauricio Dubon plays second, short. They're starting to turn him into a third baseman, left field, center field, and I'm sure he could play right field if you ask him to. But Mauricio Dubon can't play every position for this team. He's already a utility guy working hard at all those other positions. And I understand you want to play him somewhere, and he's been playing a lot recently. Obviously, he wasn't in the lineup today, but Dubon is a good player, but he's not. I don't think you need to transition him into a first baseman as well and put more on his plate. He's doing great with the time that he's already had and everything else going on, but you can't rely on Dubon doing literally everything for your baseball club. So whether you like it or not, Mauricio Dubon is probably not going to play first base. I know he played there a couple of times last season, but it's going to be Jose Abreu. It's going to be John Singleton. And I know a lot of you now know about Joey Loperfido, who tore it up in AAA, or he's tearing it up in AAA now, and he tore it up in spring training. I would call Joey Loperfido up right now, but the Astros are deciding not to. But what that really comes down to is if you call Joey Loperfido up, you use one of his full major league seasons. And if you call him up by about mid-June or July, well, then he basically gets an extra year of MLB eligibility before you have to pay him 5, 6, 7 years down the line. So what they're really trying to do there, and I mean, I know the secret, some of y'all don't, is they're trying to get him cheaper for an extra season instead of calling him up now when he could be a use to the club. So Joey Loperfido's probably not going to get called up too soon. I give it at least May 15th, May 20th before they pull the plug on either the Singleton experiment, DFA him, or even the more unlikely scenario of DFA Jose Abreu. So I've gone over a lot in this live stream. Thank you all for watching. It's there's a lot to fix here. And like I was saying, to finish my point, what else are you going to do if you're Joe Espada? He's pitching Brian Abreu in the 7th inning, Ryan Presley in the 8th, and Josh Hader in the 9th in games that are close games, but they haven't had many games where they've had the lead. They haven't pitched well either, but that's a whole nother factor of, they haven't pitched well, even though I think he's using guys where he should be using them. He's had one or two questionable pinch hitting situations where one time he pinch hitted John Singleton for, I think it was Victor Caratini late in one of the games a couple weeks ago. I didn't agree with that decision, but I've agreed with most of Joe Espada's decisions. I think he's doing his best to put guys in situations for them to succeed, but there's most of them, Jose Altuve's hitting 351, but mostly guys aren't succeeding. So what else are you going to do? I would say, even though the Astros are 7-16, I would say Joe Espada's season grade so far deserves to be a B because, well, it's simple. Like I've said, he's putting guys in situations to succeed, but they're not succeeding. I mean, it's that simple. If guys would just go out there and do their job, like Josh Hader's blown multiple saves out there, Ryan Presley blew one yesterday. The Astros have blown 6 saves so far this season, which is up there tops in the MLB. They're top 3. When you blown 6 saves right there, then and there, that could be 6 more wins. So if you add 6 wins and those 6 saves that they were perfect and those 6 blown saves, the Astros record would be 13-10, and that would be much more, much better than what they're at now. So things are bad. Hopefully things will start to look up. I was hoping with the addition of Verlander back on the roster, they would maybe get on a roll and sweep this series, but obviously that did not happen. So things are starting to feel like they're hitting rock bottom again, as I mentioned in my previous video, but you're going to have to change things in a hurry. The one bad month does not define your season. The Astros need some changes, and sooner rather than later, things have to start turning around. So like I mentioned, I'm going to have an Astros versus Cubs preview come out likely on Tuesday, another YouTube video. Let me know down below in the comments in my other videos if you'd like to see me start up YouTube Shorts again. I can come up with some ideas, or I may have some brewing up here in my head. We'll see. But this is going to wrap up my first live stream and basically just an update on where the Astros are going, my thoughts, and, well, things need to jumpstart quick. The last thing I want to mention is 23 things haven't been great, but 23 pitchers have pitched for the Astros so far this season. That's tops in the major leagues. They only used 23 pitchers in 2022 and 2023, and they're likely going to use more when Lance McCullers might come back. Definitely, they expect Luis Garcia back, and then, so on and so on. A couple more relievers will come up and down and things like that. So things haven't gone great. There's still a lot of season left. Like I said, what else do you expect Joe Espada to do? I think he's doing a good job. He's putting his best lineup out there. Jose Altuve, Yordan Alvarez, Kyle Tucker, your top three hitters haven't had a day off yet this year. Neither is Jeremy Pena, who's hit the ball well. So I think Joe Espada deserves a B for his manager job so far. Some of y'all might think I'm crazy for saying that with a 7-16 Astros record, but he's put guys in spots to succeed, and they're simply not. So with that being said, that does it for me on my Astros post-game show / just first live stream of wanting to talk some more Astros baseball, vent my frustrations. Let me know what y'all think down below in the comments. If you'd like me to do more live streams or whatever it is, more Astros baseball, talk about other MLB teams, I can do that as well. But it's going to be heavy baseball for the next couple of months until football comes back around. So thank you all for watching here for Clark Crawford at Clark Crawford Sports. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll be putting out plenty more content. So I'll see y'all in my next live stream or in my next video, but there will be another one coming on Tuesday. Thank you all for watching.